The death of Pope Gregory XVI on 1 June 1846 triggered the Papal Conclave of 1846. 50 of the 62 members of the College of Cardinals assembled in the Quirinal Palace, one of the papal palaces in Rome and the seat of two earlier 19th-century conclaves. The conclave began on 14 June and had to elect a pope who would not only be head of the Catholic Church but also the head of state and government of the Papal States, the extensive lands around Rome and northern Italy which the Catholic Church governed. Conclave divided over how to rule the Papal States. It was the issue of the government of the Papal States that was to prove central to the 1846 conclave. The College of Cardinals was split into two factions. The conservatives wished to see a continuation of papal absolutism in the governance of the Papal States, the continuation of the hardline policies of Pope Gregory XVI and his right-wing Secretary of State, Luigi Lambruscini, while the Liberals wished for some measure of moderate reform and favored two candidates in Tommaso Pasquale Gizzi and Giovanni Maria Masti Ferretti. A fourth papabile was Cardinal Ludovico Miccara, the Dean of the College of Cardinals, who was favored by the residents of Rome itself, but he never gained support among the cardinals. Lambruscini himself was the leader of the Conservatives, while Tommaso Bonetti, who had served as Pro-Secretary of State under Pope Leo XII and the early part of Pope Gregory XVI's reign, was the leader of the Liberal faction. Lambruscini received a majority of the votes in the early ballots, but failed to achieve the required two-thirds majority. Cardinal Masti Ferretti reportedly received 15 votes, with the rest going to Lambruscini and Gizzi. Cardinal Gizzi was favored by the French government but failed to get additional support from the cardinals, and the conclave ended up ultimately as a contest between Cardinals Lambruscini and Masti Ferretti. In the meantime, Cardinal Bonetti reportedly received information that Karl Cajetan von Gaisruck, the Austrian Archbishop of Milan, was on his way to the conclave to veto the election of Masti Ferretti, and realized that if Masti Ferretti was to be elected he had to convince the cardinals within a few hours or accept the election of Lambruscini. Bonetti then on his own initiative personally convinced the majority of the electors to switch the support to Masti Ferretti. Cardinal Masti Ferretti himself, however, made no effort to campaign for the papacy, made no promises and maintained aloofness throughout the process. Despite not having campaigned for the papacy, Cardinal Masti Ferretti was perceived to be a glamorous candidate, ardent, emotional, with a gift for friendship and a track record of generosity even towards anti-clericals and Carbonari. He was a patriot, known to be critical of Gregory XVI, faced with deadlock and persuaded by Bonetti to keep Lambruscini from being elected pope. Liberals and moderates decided to cast the votes for Masti Ferretti in a move that contradicted the general mood throughout Europe. On the second day of the conclave, on 16 June 1846, during the evening ballot of the fourth ballot, the Liberal candidate, Masti Ferretti, Archbishop of Imola, achieved that requirement and was elected, receiving for more than the required two-thirds majority. It is reported by papal historian Valerio Piri that on the same ballot where he was elected, Masti Ferretti was one of the scrutineers formally tabulating the votes, and that he became emotional as it became apparent that he would be elected. Masti Ferretti at one point begged to be excused from his role as scrutineer, but was not permitted to do so since it would have invalidated the ballot. As a result, Masti Ferretti had the rare experience of having to formally proclaim his own election to the cardinal electors inside the conclave. He took the name Pope Pius IX. Because it was night, no formal announcement was given, just the signal of white smoke. Many Catholics had assumed that Gysi had been elected successor of St. Peter. In fact, celebrations began to take place in his hometown, and his personal staff, following a long-standing tradition, burned his cardinalitial vestments. On the following morning, the senior cardinal deacon, Tommaso Riario Sforzo, announced the election of Mastei Ferretti before a crowd of faithful Catholics. When the new pope appeared on the balcony, the mood became joyous. After his election, Pius IX appointed Cardinal Gysi as his Secretary of State. Pius IX was crowned on the 21st of June 1846. Failed attempt to veto Ferretti. As with other conclaves up to and including the 1903 conclave, various Catholic monarchs claimed a right to veto a cardinal who might be elected, forcing the cardinals to pick someone else. Emperor Ferdinand of Austria had charged Cardinal Karl Cajetan Gaisruck, the Archbishop of Milan, with vetoing the liberal Ferretti. However, Gaisruck arrived too late at the conclave. By the time he got there, Ferretti had been elected, had accepted the papacy, and had been proclaimed publicly. Aftermath. Pope Pius IX was crowned with the papal tiara on the 21st of June 1846. He became the longest reigning pope since St. Peter, sitting on the papal throne for nearly 32 years. Initially a liberal, following a short-lived deposition and the proclamation of the Roman Republic, Pius was returned to power by troops from the French Second Republic and became a conservative reactionary. In 1870, the remaining territories of the Papal States were seized by Victor Emmanuel II, King of Italy. Rome became the capital of the Kingdom of Italy, with the former Papal Palace, the Quirinal, becoming the King's Palace. Pius IX withdrew in protest to the Vatican, where he lived as a self-proclaimed prisoner in the Vatican. He died in 1878. Conclave Factfile. Dates of Conclave: 14 to 16 June 1846. Location: Quirinal Palace, Rome. Arrived late or absent included Karl Cajetan Gaisruck, Archbishop of Milan; Giacomo Munico, Patriarch of Venice. Present included Ludovico Micara, Dean of the College of Cardinals; Carlo Oppizoni, Archbishop of Bologna; Cardinal Protopriest Chierissimo Falconieri Mellini, Archbishop of Ravenna; Cosimo Corsi, Archbishop of Pisa; Sister Riario Sforza, Archbishop of Naples; Luigi Ciacchi, Paolo Polidori, Prefect of the Sacred Congregation of the Council; titular Archbishop of Tarsus. Historic features of 1846 conclave. Last of three conclaves held in the Quirinal Palace and last held outside the Vatican. Election of Pope who would have the second longest reign in papal history. Last conclave held during the existence of the Papal States. Apparent victory for liberals and apparent rejection of previous popes' policies. Failed attempt by Austrian Emperor to exercise a veto. Last conclave made up exclusively of cardinals from continental Europe.